Okay, so I'm going to start off. This is a lesson 11.12. We'll be really dealing with volume, but let's build up from where we've been for the last couple days to volume, okay? So perimeter. Perimeter is about measuring the length around an object. So if we were to use this rectangle as an example, we would measure the outside of this shape, okay? The area is about measuring everything on the inside. You can think of this as, like if you wanted to go into your bedroom and think about the space that where the floor is, the carpet's being laid. Okay, the area is going to be in a square number, so we'll have a little square at the top, and it will depend on, are we going to be in meters or centimeters or feet. If we're talking about floor, we might be talking about yards squared. So, but the way we calculate that is we calculate that by taking the length of something and multiplying it by the width. I like to use this cursive a little bit more when I'm talking about area and volume, and for my multiplication symbol, it's more of a dot at this point. For volume, what you have to think, if you're in that bedroom of yours, and we have to ask, okay, how much stuff could we fill in that room? That would be talking about the volume of something. We think of volume when we talk about how much milk did we bring home? Well, the volume of milk is usually determined, and it's a gallon. We don't think of it in terms of maybe length times width times height, but it's how much something we can put in there. So if we have a storage container and we want to know what the area is, we'll talk about just the size of the floor. To think about that floor space. Volume is if we're going to be packing that storage container up, we have to think of length times width times height. So you can see there's some dotted lines. This just represents a three-dimensional object that we can't see. So length times width times height. Three different measurements, okay? And when we do length times width times height, we have three different measurements that we need to deal with. Okay, I see what we're getting at here. On this page, it has we have two different parts to it. We'll look at the left side, and then we'll look at the right side. The left side says that we know that the length of something is 30 centimeters. We don't know the width. How would we determine the width if we know the area and we know this? So we know that area is equal to length times width. So we know the length already, we just don't know the width. What we need to do is we need to figure out what the width is. The width is going to be the area divided by the side that we do know, the length. So we have 450 divided by 30. Let's try that out. 30 goes into 450. I'd love to teach you the shortcut. My shortcut is, if our number ends in a zero, my divisor, my dividend can also be, what I can do is I can eliminate a zero there. Let's just pretend that it is there for now. 30 doesn't go into 4, but it does go into 45. Goes into 45 one time. I subtract 30 away because I have only one group. Then I have 1, 5. 30 doesn't go into 15, so I know that I'm right so far. I'm going to bring down my 0. 30 goes into 150 15 times. So if my length is going to be 30, my width will be 15. How much, what would could these two measurements be if my volume is 9,000 centimeters cubed? I like that. That 3 shows me that I'm measuring out and thinking of three different measurements, a length, a width, and a height. Let's do this. Let's think. We're going to just say that the area is part of this. So we're going to keep our 30 centimeters, and we'll keep 15. Remember, if we take 30 times 15, we get 450. And now we have to think, what if we take 450 times a number and get, what number would we have to take at times to get to 9,000? Well, that's like saying we're going to divide 450 into 9,000. I can do this. I think I can do this in my head here. Let's see. If I take 450 and I double that, I get, or not double that, but if I take it times 10, I get 4,500. And then look, 4,500 is half of 9,000. So my real number is going to be 450 times 20. Again, you think, how did I come up with that? Well, 450, 450 divided into 9,000. And I can't go 450 into 9, can't go into 90, but 450 will go into 900. Goes in a total of 2 times, and then I end up with a 0 left over, so I have to put that 0 there. 20. Let's say that we don't know anything about this. All we know is 30 centimeters cubed. What we can do to figure out what the width and the height could possibly be. Now, if we're doing it this way, we could find lots of different ways of dividing, of solving the height and the width. We don't know for sure, but we can come up with many different ways. So what we would do is take 30 into 9,000, and from there, let's see, 30 goes into 90 3 times. I've got a 0 and a 0 because I've got to do something with them. So what I have left is 300. Remember, volume is length times width times height. In this particular scenario, I already know my length. I just don't know my width and the height. What two numbers could we multiply times each other to get 300? I'll keep it super simple. We could take 30 times 10. Now, if we take 30 times 30, we get 900. 900 times 10, we get 9,000. I do apologize for going quickly. I just know that these videos are going to be long, and I know you can go back and listen to these again. You may also be able to slow down my speaking to see to listen to it slower. Okay, here's a word problem. This kind of helps us get to where we need to be. An art supply store has ordered some blank canvases. Each canvas is 2 feet long, 30 inches wide, and 1/4 inch thick. How much space is needed to store the canvas? All right. So, as I was thinking, we're going to talk about putting paint on this canvas, but we're just trying to figure out how much actual storage space each one of these canvases takes. So how do we figure out volume? The volume is dealing with that, how much space that we'll need. Volume is length times width times height. So we'll just put those numbers in. My volume is going to be 2 feet, oh no, 30 inches, uh-oh. Well, and inches here. I have a decision to make. Do I turn everything into feet, or do I turn everything into inches? And because 2 of my measurements are already in inches, I'm going to make them all in inches. So if 1 foot equals 12 inches, 2 feet equals 24 inches. We have 24 inches. That's our length. Our width is 30 inches. And our height, I guess you'd say, is 1/4. So we're saying 1/4 of 30 times 24. Okay. Now, when you multiply, you can do this in any order that you want. What you might find handy would be to go like this. And let's just pick one part to do. I think I would like to do 24 inches times 1/4. So I'm going to put that right here, 24 times 1/4. Remember, I'm going to go ahead and put my 1 under there. That's 24 wholes times 1/4. I multiply all my numerators. I get 24. I multiply all my denominators. I get 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 24 times 1 is 24. And then I have to reduce it. I want to find the whole number and fractional part left if there is one. So 4 goes into 24 6 times. So what I just did is I multiplied this times this, and that gave me 6. So my volume now, I still have 30 inches. I'm going to multiply that times 6 inches squared. I'm sorry, I should have put my inches by each one of these. I've got 3 inches overall, or 3 measurements by inches now. 30 by 6 is 180 inches cubed. Follow me as we start our math lesson in our math books. Please open up your books. In your books, turn to page 428. Volume solving word problems. And this is why watching these videos are so very important right now, because there's a lot going on. But I like how this picture shows us it's a crate, it's a big box. And when we talk about what we could fit in that box, we're going to be talking about volume. Aston brought this storage crate. It is 15.75 inches long by 12 inches wide. How much floor space will the crate take up? Well, hey, there we go. If we're talking just floor space, what we're finding out is area. So we're wanting to find out the area of this bottom base. Tina figures it out like this. Area equals length times width. Area equals 15.75 times 12. The total area then is 189 inches squared. Now the volume of this crate is 9,450 inches cubed. We say that. Inches cubed is how we would say that. How could you calculate the height of this crate? So we know this measurement, but we don't know this measurement. We know the total volume on the inside. So how are we going to solve that? Remember, volume is length times width times height. Well, we know the length and the width. We just don't know the height. So we're going to take volume, the total amount of the volume, which is 9,450, and we're going to divide 189 into that. Oh boy, this is tough math, isn't it? The best way for us to be able to do this is long division. Now there may be some other ideas we could come up with, but I think this might be the way that we need to work this out. So 189. Oh, how many times can it go into 945? I'm going to just try some numbers. I know it goes in more than once. I'm going to try 4 times. Now I don't know. I haven't come up to an answer, but I'm making an educated guess here. My guess might be wrong, and we'll find out in just a second. We're going to say that 189 goes into 945, okay? That's not a decimal point. That's just how far I'm at right now. We're going to say it goes in 4. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 3 is 35. And 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3. We have 736, which it looks like we're going to need a little bit more than that. Let's see. Maybe it's 5 times. I'm going to go ahead and finish this out with you guys. I started it without you. 5 times 9 is 45. Carry my 4. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4. And I am amazed. I have to carry the 4 again. 5 times 5 is 5 plus 4 is 9. I had no idea. Okay, so we had to bring down a 0. That means we better put that 0 there. So the height of this is 50 inches. How about that? I'll bet it says that below here. Oh, it doesn't? It doesn't, but that's how we would figure it out. We would divide the amount that we need, that we're looking for, or that we have total, by the amount that we've already calculated, that area. Whew. The height, the box of staples is 3 centimeters high. Its base is shown below. This is the base, evidently. This is the box. Use the measurement shown to calculate the volume of the box. Show your thinking. So the height is 3 inches, or 3 centimeters. Keep that in the back of our heads. What we're going to do, we calculate volume by doing length times width times height. Let's put all of our numbers out there so that we can see them. We go across, we get 2. So my volume is 2 times my width. We'll call this our width, times 3.5, and times my height. My height is 3 centimeters. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write centimeters cubed. If I'm going to write volume, that's how I'm going to come up with that amount. I'll ask you guys, go ahead and solve the rest of this problem. 2 times 3.5 times 3. Remember this, in multiplication, you can do this and multiply in any order that you'd like. If you'd like to start with 2 times 3.5, go for it. If you'd like to start with 2 times 3, go for it. You choose, but make sure that you multiply all 3 of those numbers together somehow. Oh boy, these word problems are real tricky. We're supposed to show our thinking. Remember to write the unit of measurement. By the way, I'm thinking about having us do one of those Flipgrid things where you show me how to do some of these problems. I think that's a great idea to try. Maybe we'll do that Thursday or Friday. Nathan and his friend rent a storage unit for 1 month. They share the cost and the space equally. The unit is 6 foot by 12 foot by 10 foot. How much space is available for each person? Oh, wow. Well, we'll have to start with our equation for volume. Remember what it is. Volume equals the length times the width times the height. Then it asks how much space is available for each person. How many people are sharing that? There's 2. So they're dividing that into halves. So find your answer. Make sure that you use the right label. When you have feet times feet times feet, what happens to your label? Next one, B. A gift box measures 4.5 centimeters wide by 2.5 centimeters deep. Its height is the sum of the width and depth. The gift has a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. After the gift has been packed in the box, how much space inside the box is not used? Wow. This is a tremendous question. Let's think about everything it's asking us, or what it's telling us. It says it measures wide and deep. It says its height is the sum of the width and the depth. If you hear sum, you need to add. So the height is the sum of 2.5 and 4.5. Our multiplication problem is volume, length, times width, times height. We have all of those numbers that we need right here. Then the gift has a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. After the gift has been packed in the box, how much space inside the box is not used? That is a fantastic question. We're going to be subtracting this number minus whatever the volume is that we come up with from up above. Good luck with that problem. Can't apologize enough for how long this video probably already has become. I will encourage you to watch the review video that will be posted the next day. Well, maybe we'll figure it out, okay? If you see a review video in today's lessons, check it out. I will be out of town for the day. I might be available. Check in with Mrs. Ganuzzi, Mr. Resendez, or even Mrs. Brower. So here we go. Part C. Suitcase A is 2.5 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet high. I'm so glad that we don't have to convert right now. Suitcase B is 36 inches long, 24 inches wide, and 18 inches high. What is the difference in volume? I spoke too soon. I am so sorry. So if we're going to figure out the difference in volume, what we're going to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to have to, one way, I guess, figure out what the volume is, figure it out based on either inches or feet, and then calculate what's left there, I guess. I'm also going to come up with a different way to do this. And I'm not sure if this is going to be correct or not. We'll start with A and B. We're going to talk about the length, the width, and the height. So I'm making a little bit of a chart. So the length of A is 2.5, and we're going to make them all in feet. Okay, 2 feet wide and 2 feet high. So 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, I'm giving you some help here. Suitcase B is 36 inches long. 36 inches is 3 feet. 24 inches is 2 feet. And 18 inches is 1.5. Well, forget my way. I was hoping that we could have done some subtraction and then found out the left or the rest. And, well, maybe there's a way to do that, but I'm not sure. So I guess what we'll be doing is taking 2.5 times 2 times 2 and 3 times 2 times 1.5. But I think we can do that. We can manage. Okay. What's 2.5 times 2? It should be 5. Take 5 times 2, and Ashley's is 10 feet cubed. B, not Ashley's, but suitcase A. Suitcase B, 3 times 2, that's 6, times 1.5. So that's the hardest part I've got. Well, wait a second, I can go in a different order. 2, if I have 1.5, and I take that times 2, I've got 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 feet cubed. Oh boy, I just gave you the answer. I mean, you got to think, what is the difference? I hope you can see what the difference is on this one. The last one that we'll look at, and then I'm going to give you a reprieve and let you skip part of this last part. Bianca is building a sandbox that will hold 4 cubic yards of sand. She wants it to be 18 inches deep and 2 yards wide. What will the length be? Okay, so volume, again, is equal to length times width times height. What things do we know? We know the volume is 4 cubic yards. We have inches and yards. We're going to make them all yards. Okay, we're going to take care of that. 4 cubic yards. We'll start here. 4 equals my length. I always hate that. My length of... Well, I don't know my length. Okay, so that's the value I don't know. We'll put an L. But I know that 18 inches. Okay, how many feet are there in... There's... Well, okay. 36 inches in 1 yard. So 18 inches is 1.5. So length times 1.5 times 2. Now what I want you to do is I want you to figure out what the length should be. We know that that this is 2 foot wide, and we know that it's 1.5 yards deep. Not 1.5, excuse me. What am I thinking of? 18 inches is 1/2 of a yard. And if you'd rather look at it as a fraction, that's fine. So length times 0.5 times 2. All that together equals 4. Figure out what the length of that is. Good luck. Like I said, you can skip the step ahead. Do take advantage of the review video that I'll be presenting later.